In this lesson of our course, Designing and Delivering the Life and Love of Your Dreams, we will be focusing on the heart, nurturing the heart as we think about the body, mind, heart, soul, spirit connection, how they are interconnected, interrelated, they influence each other, there's overlap. And what we've been doing is going through each one of them, pulling them apart as best we can to understand each aspect. And then we put them back together so that you can understand how all of the aspects of balanced health work together to create this opportunity for you to design and deliver the life and love of your dreams. So when we focus on the heart, we are talking about that symbolic housing of our emotions, our emotional states, how we feel about things in an emotional way, when we have emotional reactions. And we're going to be talking all about emotions, why they're important, and how you can use learning more about yourself, increasing your personal insight to better understand your overall experience, and then to be able to accomplish the goals and the vision that you are desiring for your life and for your love and your relationships. When we talk about emotions, we recognize that they are personal in nature, that we have our own emotional experiences, and they affect us personally in a health related way, and they affect us emotionally in a relationship aspect of our lives. So, our relationships with ourselves and our relationships with others. When you think about the way that we process emotions or not, avoid emotions, carry emotions, how we allow our emotions to come with us into our lives, into our work, into our homes, into our relationships, this is so important to be able to explore your own emotional reactions to certain things, certain life events, and to learn more about yourself so that you can understand them and make necessary changes that may help you feel better overall. One of the things that we as psychologists get made fun of the most is the question, how does that make you feel? And there is some science behind why we ask those questions, or why we encourage you to, as we're talking about here in this lesson, why we encourage you to be able to first identify the emotion that you are experiencing. How are you feeling in this moment? There is research evidence that shows that simply by labeling your emotion and stating your emotion, being able to identify the emotion you're experiencing or the mixture of emotions that you are experiencing, lowers your physiological response. Now, this takes us into the overlap of the body. When we've talked about nurturing the body by tuning in to the body and recognizing those things that happen inside your body when you are experiencing a certain emotion. Your heart starts to beat, your stomach might feel tense, your blood starts to boil, you get energy and tension and sometimes pressure and pain, and your breath quickens for certain emotions. And other emotions, we feel a compassion and a love and a tingly feeling. And all of those things are physiological responses to our life events. And it can be helpful to identify the emotions that we feel in order to understand how to feel better, or to get more of that if it's a good, positive feeling emotion. I want to caution that we don't label emotions as good or bad, positive or negative, because all emotions are human emotions. All emotions are human emotions. And when we get into the effort to avoid certain emotions, which we understand is, again, it's another aspect of our human nature, is to avoid things that are uncomfortable, we miss out. We miss out on opportunities. We can recognize the avoidance of emotions over time leads to problematic and unhealthy outcomes. Things that we shove down really deep, we think we're over it or past it, or it's locked up and it'll never come out again. Really, the energy we give things sometimes when we're trying to avoid emotions takes more of our store of energy than if we would be able to go through the process of processing emotions. And we're going to talk. One of the best places to start is to think about some of the most common emotions that we have, that we know, that we label, that we teach our children very, very early on. And Disney had a movie a couple of years ago called Inside Out. The movie had a character for each emotion. The emotions that they chose to feature in their film was joy, disgust, anger, fear, and sadness. So joy, disgust, anger, fear, and sadness. When you think about the collection of emotions, there's 5 emotions. And when we think about the comfort, discomfort level with those emotions, most of them are uncomfortable emotions, right? Except for joy, right? We think of joy and happiness as a pleasant emotion. Sometimes even joy can be scary and uncomfortable for different reasons. And it really comes down to how we conceptualize our emotions, because at their very basic level, emotions are a basic human experience. We were designed to be able to experience sadness and anger and frustration and joy and excitement and elation and disgust and fear and terror. We were designed to experience such a multitude of emotions. Over time in our lives, we come to judge them by our own beliefs, and typically by the influences of those around us. So how emotions are processed in our families, in our very first experiences in life, how our parents label emotions or tell us to feel or not feel an emotion or try to get us away from feeling an emotion, society and culture and our friend groups and our peers when we're young and we're developing how we cope with, how we manage emotions. Our peers are a very big influence on that. And then as we live throughout our lives, our cultural aspects of identity, the society in which we live, and all of the different influences that come into play in our lives tend to affect how we process our emotions or not, how we judge our emotions. And so we're going to be talking all about that in this lesson.